Hey guys, Logan here, and welcome to another episode of Logan Football Talk, where I'll be giving some pretty long discussions about any football-related subject. For this episode, I'm going to be giving my predictions for the upcoming bowl games, as well as the college football playoff semifinals. Like I said, they're coming within a few days, and one of the first New York 6 bowl games is, and I will be getting to that in just a few minutes. Now this is the very first Logan Football Talk episode where I actually gave in my predictions for a game or a schedule in football. Mostly a game. So this is my very first time doing predictions on this in this series. So I guess that's pretty cool. Anyway, for this episode, I'm just going to start from games that I'm least excited about to games I am most excited about. So, let's get started with the... I forgot. Let's start with the Fiesta Bowl. I think that's how you say it. Between number 11 Washington Huskies and number 9 Penn State Nittany Lions. In my last episode, I talked about how uninterested I am of that game. Contemplating on whether I want to watch it or don't want to watch it, because it's a very uninteresting game with two uninteresting teams to watch. So I was kind of conflicted about it. But after a couple of weeks of thinking, I thought very hard about this game, thinking, okay, this might not be a very bad game. It might turn out to be an okay game. Here's my prediction for this game. I am picking the Penn State Nittany Lions to beat the Washington Huskies 27-14. Yeah, that's right. I just picked Penn State to win this game pretty solidly. I'll give you my reasons for that. One of them was, even though Penn State came from a pretty weak conference, Washington has also came from a even worse and even weaker conference. Pac-12 is just absolutely weak. As far as I'm concerned, no matter how good some of their teams are. I'm just saying this based on strength of schedule and which big wins and losses that both teams have. This year, Penn State didn't beat Ohio State, so that pretty much doesn't count as a big win for Penn State. And I don't know which team Washington has beaten that is that big of a deal. So, I guess for that reason alone, I'm picking Penn State to beat Washington. Washington came from a conference that is known to have many weak teams, though some of their teams are actually pretty good, like USC, and I will be getting into their game against Ohio State in just a few minutes. But, moving on from the Fiesta Bowl between Washington and Penn State, let's move on to the Peach Bowl. The Chick-Fil-A Peach Bowl, and the Fiesta Bowl was sponsored by PlayStation, in case you didn't know. So anyway, Chick-Fil-A Peach Bowl between number 12 UCF Knights, I believe, versus number 7 Auburn. I hate to upset you, UCF fans, I really do, but I have to say this. This is going to be a very rough game for your Knights. And let me explain what I mean by that. Your Knights, if they face the Tigers, which they're already about to beat, in the next couple of days or so, your Knights are going to get beaten up. Being punched in the face, figuratively speaking, by the Auburn Tigers. You face the Auburn Tigers, you're going to have a rough day, because the Auburn Tigers, they're going to beat up your Knights. I'm sorry. I'm just saying it like it is. My prediction, 56-13, Auburn. Yeah, that's right. A blowout. I made a blowout prediction. Auburn beating UCF 56-13. I'm sorry to upset you, UCF fans. I really do hate it. It's just what it is. UCF is not as very good, not as impressive as people are making it out to be. You know what I mean? It came from a nobody conference. Yeah, I just said a nobody conference. Conference that really didn't matter as much as other conferences like SEC or ACC and all that stuff. UCF came from an extremely nobody conference. So because of that, and Auburn being really good this year, a lot better this year than I thought they would be coming into the season, like I said, I'm going with Auburn to beat up UCF 56-13. So moving on to the Capital One Orange Bowl between number 10 Miami versus Miami Hurricanes versus number 6 Wisconsin Badgers. I think this will be a somewhat close game. I think it is going to be a close game between those two teams. But I think Wisconsin might have the edge to win this game. I think they might have the edge to actually beat the Hurricanes and win the Orange Bowl. I really do. So, based on how I feel about that, I'm going with Wisconsin to win this game by a touchdown, 31-24. A touchdown with an extra point. You get the point. Miami. I mean, have you seen the way Miami got beated in this year's ACC title game by the Clemson Tigers? Did you see that? I mean, if you hadn't, for those of you who had not watched that game or saw some replays of that game, Clemson beat up Miami 38-3. Clemson only gave up a field goal to Miami, and it really shows just how extremely overrated Miami was. But Clemson really showed the world just how overrated Miami was, as far as I'm concerned. So based on that, and as well as Wisconsin being a pretty solid team in the Big Ten Conference, which is also pretty weak, I would say like I said, Wisconsin winning this game by a touchdown, 31-24. I think Wisconsin is a better team than Miami as far as I'm concerned. So, moving to the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic between the number 8 USC Trojans versus number 5 Ohio State Buckeyes. I think this is going to be a very, very tight game. Like I said about the Orange Bowl, and I think this is going to be a much tighter game than the Orange Bowl. I really do. You have USC facing Ohio State. That's going to be a very interesting and very good game to watch, I will say. I think both teams are really good. Or not. For Ohio State, I think they're okay. Two of their biggest losses, one of them being Iowa. Yeah, that wasn't so good. But overall, Ohio State was a good team, minus the 2 losses they had this year. So, yeah, I mean, and USC. USC is a really good Pac-12 team. I think they're the best team in the Pac-12 conference as far as I can see from someone outside of the Pac-12. I think they're the best team in the Pac-12 and probably the only best team in the Pac-12 conference. Other than that, the Pac-12 is just absolutely freaking weak. A weak ASS conference, but USC really good. So, my prediction for that game, I'm kind of going with Ohio State only by 4 points. USC I think will almost. I think USC will give Ohio State a run for its money, but I think Ohio State will survive the Cotton Bowl Classic. I think it will survive it probably in the fourth quarter, within the last few minutes of the game, with Ohio State scoring a touchdown. At least that's me. That's just me predicting. It's not just me saying it as if it's going to happen. It's actually me just predicting. Just because I'm predicting something doesn't mean it's going to happen. Certain things are going to go to one or two different ways. Either it's going to happen the way you predicted, or it's not going to happen the way you predicted. So either way, this is what I predicted. Ohio State barely winning this game against USC. 34-30. That's my prediction for the game. And now that we got all the, the New Year's Six Bowl games, the non-college football playoff semifinal bowl games, or whatever, I don't know exactly. But we already got through those postseason bowl games. Now, we're getting on to 2 of the college football playoff semifinals. One of them was the Rose Bowl between the number 3 Georgia Bulldogs and the number 2 Oklahoma Sooners, led by their Heisman Trophy winner, Baker Mayfield. And the other, Sugar Bowl, the All-State Sugar Bowl, by between number 4 Alabama and number 1 Clemson. Number 4 Alabama Crimson Tide versus number 1 Clemson Tigers. So let's talk about the Georgia and Oklahoma game, the Rose Bowl, by a Northwestern Mutual, I believe. I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for what I'm about to say, but I don't care. Here we go. Georgia is going to beat up Oklahoma. That's right. Those are the words that just came out of my mouth. Georgia is going to beat the living daylights out of Oklahoma. Yeah. Put in the mean comments section put the hate comments in the comments section all you want to. I don't care. But I'm just going to tell you why. Oklahoma is in the Big 12 conference, right? And for those who are unfamiliar with the Big 12, Big 12 is a college football conference that is pretty much widely known for having teams with absolutely weak defenses. Their offenses are really good, but their defenses were awful. And Oklahoma's defense, I would probably say, has improved within the last few regular season games. So I'm just going to let their defense slide. But still, their defense is not that great. Whereas Georgia, they're from the SEC, and they won the SEC title game against Auburn. And they have a better defense than Oklahoma, way better defense than Oklahoma. And they have a somewhat better offense than Oklahoma's offense. Even though Oklahoma's offense is legit, I still think Georgia has a slight better edge in terms of offense. So I would say that based on that alone, being Georgia's defense being leaps and bounds better than Oklahoma's defense, and Georgia's offense being slightly better than Oklahoma's offense, based on all those alone, Georgia, I think, is going to not only beat Oklahoma, but literally beat up Oklahoma. And what's my prediction score for this game? My score prediction? 38-10. Georgia 38, Oklahoma 10. Hate on me. Let the hate rain down on me. I don't care. I'm just saying it like it is happening, even though I'm actually giving my prediction for the game. I still feel like it's going to happen because of how weak of a conference Oklahoma came from and how widely known for having teams that have weak, absolutely weak defenses, like I've already mentioned a few seconds ago. But anyway, moving on from there. The last game for this episode to predict. The All-State Sugar Bowl between the number 4 Alabama Crimson Tide versus number 1 Clemson Tigers. So this is the third time in a row that Clemson and Alabama had met in 3 years. Except this time, they're not facing each other in the national title game. They're actually facing in the national... how do you say it? College football playoff semifinal game, or national semifinal. I don't know which one to call anymore. But anyway, Clemson and Alabama will face each other in the All-State Sugar Bowl for the third... overall the third time that they have faced each other, but the first time they faced in the All-State Sugar Bowl, as well as being in the national semifinal game. So with Alabama, they are not as great this year as they were last season. Their defense has slowly but surely got down this season. Their defense has slowly but surely gone down. Their offense is still somewhat above average. Their offense is above average, I will say. But their defense, not as great as they were last season. Whereas Clemson, they're probably as good this year as they were last season, if not better. Their offense was really good. Their defense was absolutely legit. Their quarterback, Kelly Bryant, is not a bad player. He's not a really bad player at all. He's like Deion Sanders compared to Jalen Hurts. Even though Deion Sanders is not a Clemson Tiger, he's actually a Florida State Seminole. Was. Yeah, stuff like that. But you get the point, like I said. So all the things that I said about both Alabama and Clemson, Alabama's defense still pretty good, but not as great as they were last season, and Clemson still being a better team just slightly than they were last season. I'm going to give Clemson a pass. Or no, I should say, I'm going to give Clemson a win for this one. I'm just keeping it 100. I'm keeping it 100 with y'all. Clemson, I think, is going to beat Alabama. Just slightly. Like I said before about a few other bowl games, like the Cotton Bowl Classic and the Orange Bowl. Just two of those games, and it's the same way with this one. It's going to be a very tight one. For the score prediction for me would be 28-24. Clemson. I think Clemson is going to beat Alabama by 4 points. I just think Clemson is a better team than Alabama. Due to the eye test that I've been having while watching both teams this season. So, yeah. I mean, Alabama's quarterback, Jalen Hurts, he was average to me. I just watched him in the Alabama games, and he was just nothing but average to me. I didn't. I mean, he had made some really cool, good plays there and there, some pretty good passing plays and some pretty good rushing plays. But overall, he was just a deer in headlights when he's and just stuff like that compared to the rest of the really good quarterbacks, both from the past and in the present. So. Yeah, just one of those reasons being alone, for me, Clemson wins this game and goes to the national championship game against the Georgia Bulldogs. And I actually just said who I actually gave in my prediction for the national title game, or that I just predicted who would be the national championship game, the Clemson Tigers and the Georgia Bulldogs. I actually just spouted out for some reason. I don't know why, but anyway. Yeah, I picked Clemson to win this game against Alabama, 28-24. Hate on me all you want. I don't mind. Let the hate rain down on me, like I said earlier. So, that's about it, guys, I think. Those are all my predictions for both the college football playoff semifinal games and the New York Six Bowl games between both teams, different teams from different conferences. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please click the like button and comment down below to let me know what you think of a few games that I just predicted. Which game are you most excited to watch, and what you what you think is the must watch game, I should say. Let me know. So, yeah. If you enjoyed what you've seen here and you want to see future videos from me, please click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you never miss a video. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great week, Battle Squad, and as always, fight the good fight. Peace!